Hey, it's your girl, Nettie B.
Hey, and it's Rima L, and this is the Sugar and Spouse podcast where we'll be discussing all the tips and tricks, aka the sugar, on wedding planning.
And let us not forget about the spouse and which ways that we can help you keep those spark before and after the I do's. We'll also be highlighting professional vendors to help you on your wedding planning journey. So, without further ado, let's get into it.
When I feel what I feel, sometimes it's hard to tell you so.
Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up?
What's up, girl? Nothing much. Enjoying the weather, enjoying life, keeping it cute.
Yes,
You
it
know?
is. It is the springtime. So
Yes.
there should be a lot of flowers in the air, and summer's right around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, and it's also wedding season
It
coming
sure
up. Is
is.
it? Are we in the midst of it right now?
I feel like it. I'm like, this is the time when all
Mm-hmm.
the weddings start popping up between May and maybe by November, December time.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be
Mm-hmm.
a lot of wedding ceremonies going on.
Yes, and with all those weddings, you know who's going to those weddings? The
Mm.
guests.
Mhm.
Yes, and we are trying to figure out
Mhm. How to
who's
figure
going,
that list out.
how we can figure that list out.
Yes, who makes the cut? Who's gonna get the invite, who's not gonna get the invite? Who's gonna see it on Instagram?
Yeah. Who is? Who's gonna see that? Oh, that's what happened. Okay.
Mhm, mhm. Oh, that's what she wore. Oh, that's what he did.
Yeah, yeah. Who's gonna
Mhm.
be there
Oh,
to catch the
yeah.
bouquet?
Absolutely. We're gonna figure that out today, and we're gonna tell you who to invite and who you probably shouldn't invite.
Oh, yes. And also give you all the things that we learned in this very trying
Mhm.
part of wedding planning. It is a very pivotal, very important piece of the wedding.
Absolutely. Like the guests make the event. Granted, it's your day, it's about you and your person,
Mhm.
but the guests get the party started.
Oh,
Imagine if
mhm.
your guests didn't want to dance, they didn't want to get up, they didn't want to do anything.
That's true. And another big thing is the guest kind of drives that budget.
They sure do.
No, my favorite thing.
Oh yeah, we know you love talking about a budget.
But yeah, so um really, so how did you come across guest list, like making yours for your wedding? How was
Okay.
that?
So that was kind of like pulling teeth for me. So I had to sit down with my sister-in-law because my husband was just like, yeah, I think that's everybody. And he forgot so many key relatives that
Oh,
wouldn't have made the list had I not spoken to someone else. But
oh.
I definitely did a double list situation, and we just jot down family. Then after
Mhm.
family, we went into the list of friends, obviously starting with the close and, you know, the present friends first,
Mhm.
and then getting down to people that you would like to invite. And, you got to have that secondary list for when
Oh,
all else fails.
that's a good point. A second. So you started off making your secondary list. Like you had
Mhm.
an idea of the B-listers from the
Yeah.
jump?
Yeah, the way we kinda mapped it out, like, right, you already started your B list.
Oh.
But the way we did it was, if we hadn't talked to that person, like, we had criteria, we had
Mhm.
guidelines. So, if we did not speak to that person in X amount of years, or if one didn't know of the other, so, like, my husband wanted to invite someone who I never met. We've been together
Mm.
for several years, and it's like, I've never met this person during the amount of time that we've been together. I don't think this is the person to invite to the wedding. No offense to them, maybe I'll meet them afterward, but I don't
Mhm.
think right now is the time to do a meet and
Mhm.
greet.
Mhm.
So, that was one of the criterias on our list.
That makes sense. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's a good thing to do is to have criteria.
Mhm.
And so that's how you pretty much came up with like, okay, these people could work, these people can't.
Yeah, and that's how we
Yeah.
narrowed it down, and then you obviously
Mhm.
everyone isn't gonna come, so that's when you refer to the B list. But, we'll get into that.
Yeah. I
How did you
mean,
make your list?
so I was leaning heavily on the fact that it was destination.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, as destination, I'm not required to pay for everyone's lodging and travel.
Mm-hmm.
So that in itself is something that could probably, people will uninvite themselves. So I wasn't so worried about inviting a lot of people. Like I was just like, okay, sure, let's
Mm-hmm.
these people.
That might be like a nice little tidbit with destination weddings, especially if you're trying to keep your guest list to a certain number.
Mm-hmm.
It's like invite the world. You can blast it if you want to, post it if you want to. And then the
Yeah.
people who obviously want to pay that money is going to be there.
I mean, yeah, but also remember the tide and also, because we got married right after everything happened with the lockdown. So people were actually really excited to leave their house. So
That's a good point.
we did have a lot more people than we expected, but not that many more people. Like maybe like 25 more people than we
That's a lot of
would
more
come.
people.
No, that we thought would come.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like you know what I'm saying? It was still a small amount of people in total. But I think for a destination, it was kind of a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We had 75 people come, I think. Yeah, 75 is a good amount of people to show up. It didn't even feel like
Right?
75 people.
It
were
didn't.
there.
It definitely didn't seem like 75 people.
Yeah, it didn't, right? This is 75. I think it was something like 75 people booked their rooms. Yeah, like people came.
Nice.
Okay.
Look at y'all, all loved by people.
And people wanted to get out in the world.
They're like, nah, we outside this
We
year.
outside, but my husband, he has like a big family. He has a huge family, and then we both have a large friend group. So
yep.
I
Definitely.
was nervous. Like I was nervous. I was like, there's no way we can do this at home. It has to be destination.
It's gonna break the bank.
I'm like, we're gonna have to elope if we do it at home. There's just no way. Because like, there's people who are really important to him and like to us. And it's just hard. So we did destination. I think that was a good call for us. And we still had a good turnout. We went through that list 100 times over. But and you at least had somebody else to like tag in if your husband was like not wanting to do it. My husband, he was fine. Like he was like, oh, it was hard to get him started. But once we got him started, I was like, who are all these people?
Oh my gosh, girl. Yeah, no, I've learned through that process that we'll sit there and we'll do the list. And I'm like, is that everyone? Yeah. I think with that's everybody. Yep, we did it. It's finished. And then you run it past someone else and they're like, oh, what about auntie this? What about uncle that? What about this person? Like, oh, yeah, he failed to mention any of these family members. But thank God I spoke to you. So, yeah. It's going to be hard. Making a guest list is not an easy task.
Not at all.
I'll tell you that.
But we are here to help you. So we've kind of like broken down like the steps to take on like where to get started and how to create your guest list.
Right. So let's get into it. Let's talk about creating your guest list.
Okay. So I want to say one of the first things you want to do is like establish like a guest list guideline. Between you and your spouse. And that pretty much means is like you guys want to set your limit, like how many people do y'all is like the max on the top of your head.
Absolutely. Yes. Definitely set that limit because it can easily change in a blink of an eye, depending on which parent you speak to, which in-law, which grandparent. Have your number and you guys stick to it. Do not bend. So, hubby, don't go and change your mind without me. Wifey, you guys consult with each other and you stick to the number that you set.
Yes. Also decide, okay, are you guys doing plus ones for everybody? And like, who's considered a plus one?
Absolutely. Yeah.
You're doing girlfriends, boyfriends.
And that's the thing too, because there's some people who would invite a person who's been in a relationship, might not be married, but won't invite the boyfriend girlfriend because they're not married.
What do you think about? I don't like that because I mean, I get it. It's really some people, it's like a tradition, right? Where it's like, oh, you can only come if you're family or you're married into the family, which is basically family. But,
Mhm.
if I'm saying if you have been with this person for like less than a few years, then you shouldn't be expected to have that person as your plus one.
Yeah, I think that segment has guidelines in itself. Like, one,
Mm-hmm.
do I know the person you're with? Two,
Mm-hmm.
does my spouse know the person that you're with?
Mm-hmm.
Three, how long have you guys been together? Now, if this is like those long going relationships that is like 7 years plus,
Mm-hmm.
okay, common law marriage, you guys technically are married in my book. Sure, you can come. But if it's like, yeah, I just started dating this girl 3 months ago and I want to invite her to your wedding, absolutely not.
No, absolutely not. No.
Sorry, sis, you can't come.
Yeah, if you're still around for the next major family event, then maybe we can cross that bridge. But yeah,
Mhm.
that's another one. And
Exactly. Yeah.
so another guideline you guys want to decide, like, okay, yeah, are we gonna have kids coming? Is this an adults only wedding?
That's a big one too.
Yeah. And also, what is your vision
Mhm.
for the wedding? Like, are we doing a beach wedding? Are you doing like a wedding in a castle, or is your wedding in the church and then somewhere else? Like, are these venues going to be able to accommodate the amount of people that you want?
That is a good point.
Does that align with your vision?
That is a good
So,
point. Yeah.
gotta think about that.
Yeah.
That's the first thing you guys need to do when you're going to start to make these lists.
Absolutely. You definitely want to keep all that stuff in mind. And also, I think you should keep in mind what you're putting your guests through. I know before we started recording for this episode, we were talking about back in the day when people get married in a church and then you would have to travel to yonder to get to the reception. Be courteous to your guests, okay? Or, keep that in mind when you are making your guest list. Don't have grandma in her walker or wheelchair going to Brooklyn to be at the ceremony and then driving all the way out to Staten Island towards Jersey to go to your reception.
Yeah, she might not come back out. She might be like, oh, that's okay.
Yeah, I saw you got married. I didn't need to go.
Oh man, yeah. I think it is a thing though. Like people still do it. But I'm not sure if it's still like popular. Seems like a lot of like moving around.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are now doing everything in one place.
Yeah. It's one-stop shop, baby.
Yeah. And you also want to think about your friend list. There's people who consider coworkers as friends or just want to extend it to coworkers that you just tolerate better than others. I don't know. But, have those guidelines too. Are they invited to the wedding?
Yep.
They make the guest list?
Is extended family, the cousins twice removed. Oh, my cousin over there from across the country, I haven't seen or heard from since I ever. Like,
I just know you exist.
Yeah.
I've never seen you.
Yeah, are those the folks invited? So when you have these guidelines set with you and your spouse, it's gonna make the like process of creating the guest list start off on a really good like foot and a lot less painful than you think.
Absolutely. And another thing you want to keep in mind is how you guys are going to divvy up that guest list.
Ooh.
Because I have my family before we decided to merge together. You have your family. I have my friends. You have your friends. So now if my family consists of 200 people and your family consists of 30, let's say, is it really fair for me to say, okay, you can't invite any of your friends because I have 200 family members that need to come to the wedding?
Ooh.
Yeah. That's a conversation.
Yes. Oh yeah, you want to decide. I mean, for us, I think we initially decided to split it in half. But then we just made room. Like mine didn't come out. It was pretty close. Like mine wasn't as long as his. So I
Mhm.
was just like, okay, yeah, we could split it in half, but I've covered all the people I want. So
Mhm.
what's left
Yeah.
over? Good
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah, what we did, I don't think we spoke about splitting or how we were gonna divvy up the guest list. I
Mm-hmm.
think what we did, we just wrote down all of our family that we were gonna invite, and we started off with that family list. Now, our both of our families are pretty big. His,
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure, is bigger than mine, but we wrote down all the family, and then from there, we made a separate friends list.
Mm.
Now it's like, okay, both of our big families together is X number. How many friends can we add in to get to the number that is our cap? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and then obviously, once you start speaking to people, and it's if it's family from far away, out
Mm-hmm.
of state, out of the country, then you get those like, okay, yeah, I would love to make it, but I live far, I won't be able to come.
Mm-hmm.
Now you start dwindling down that list, and then you can fill in with some more people. So that's how we kind of figured it out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mhm.
Another thing, as far as like splitting the list, what you should do is if you are going to consider, like, if your parents have any input or any other people, this is part of like your guidelines, like who has some input and who can come. You need to decide, okay, well, how many slots are allotted for them,
Mhm. That is a
right?
good point to think
So,
about.
yeah, so, it's very common for parents, in-laws to be like, well, you got to invite my bridge team. You got
Mhm.
to invite this
My
person.
bridge.
My bridge club.
Yeah, you gotta invite Sally from church. She saw
From
you when you were a
church.
baby.
Yeah, she was there, like, and I think I haven't had to try this, but I think what would work well is if you're like, hey, parents, we have 25 slots for you.
Mhm.
Like, and this also is something that you guys should talk about, even probably before you start the list. It's because people are going to want more say depending on their contribution as well. Some
Mhm.
people have help from their parents or their in-laws or their family members, and they might be like, oh, well, I'm paying for this, so I want this to happen.
Oh yeah, that's that give and take
Hmm. And
with
so
with some help.
with some help. So you definitely have to talk about that and make sure that those boundaries are set, the expectations are met and clear.
Mhm.
You might be like, I don't know if I want to do this venue if I can't afford it without my parents, because my parents are saying that I have to invite 50 extra people,
Oh girl, no, no.
right?
That's a
So,
conversation to be had. Especially if you already decided and fell in love with the venue, but then
Mhm.
here comes your mom or your mother-in-law, father-in-law, like, hey, I have a troop of 20 people that must be invited.
Mm.
Yeah, let's sit down and have a talk.
Right?
Because we fell in love with this place and we can't do that,
We
you
can't
know?
do that.
And
So yeah.
sometimes it doesn't
Mhm.
even boil down to money. The
Mhm.
the space itself, how many people can fit in the space?
Yes. So, as part of your vision, as we mentioned before,
Mhm.
you want to think about your guest count before you really ideally pick your venue, because that can really impact who can come. They might not have space for that,
Absolutely. Yeah.
right?
So
Or
I
they
think
might
it's
have a minimum that
yeah,
you might not be meeting.
right.
So,
There's what is it called? I want to say fire capacity, but I know that's
mhm.
totally wrong.
I
But
think that sounds right to me.
all right. So for fire reasons, you can
Fire
only have
safety.
yeah, everybody has rules. So you just have to follow by it. But I think a good tip to do while figuring out the guest list is if you guys are going to entertain these guest suggestions or not. You
Mhm.
definitely have to be a united front and say,
Mhm.
yes, we're going to speak to our parents and see who they want to invite, or
Mhm.
absolutely not. Okay. We're going
Yeah.
to invite who we're going to invite, and
Mhm.
we'll have that conversation with our respective parents later.
Yes, this is part of that team building that we talk about that happens in this gauntlet of wedding planning. But this is the chance for you and your spouse to really get on that same lockstep you know, it might be even for your spouse or you. This may be the first time you're even standing up to your parents,
Mm-hmm.
where you're not, you're telling them no. And so this is where you need to lean on your partner, lean on your fiance, and help them to guide you and give you the strength to do it without,
Right. Being that
ruining
support.
relationships.
Mhm. Be that support because, in some cultural backgrounds, it's taboo to tell your parents no. And
Yeah.
you probably have never done it until this moment where your person is like, yeah, no, the answer's no. You need to tell your parents that. And that can even be a conflict between the two of you. So definitely hash that out before you even enter that realm with the
Yes.
parents.
Yeah. Because, sometimes you might not even think about it.
Mhm.
The dynamics are so ingrained as second nature, you're like totally blind to it. Right. But with this
Right.
conversation, deciding about ahead of time who has the input, whose input matters in this guest list, how
Mhm.
much their input is going, right? And
Mhm.
being on the same page with that can help guide you guys and make that transition smoother. You could approach it nicely to them.
Right? And don't renege. Okay.
Mhm.
If you agreed to
Mhm.
something in the beginning and then now you're in the midst of the pressure from your parents, don't go back on what you said and like, okay, well, it is my mom's best friend that she hasn't seen in 30 years. I guess she can come. No, we
No.
had this conversation.
Yeah.
Let's not
Don't
bring
do
stress.
it.
Do
That
not
is
do it.
so true. That is so true. Okay, so make a rough draft before you find your venue, right? So you guys just want to make sure you have a number in your mind because, as we
Mhm.
said, the budget is largely driven by your guest count.
Oh, yeah.
Because many venues, I do not know of any, honestly, but not unless they're free and like at somebody's house. But even still, they charge you by the head.
Mhm.
Right. So if you see this venue that you're like, oh, I'm obsessed with it, but it's $200 a head or something that just not what you guys budgeted for,
Mhm.
then you can't go with that venue. So you want to definitely make sure you have your guest list. Like, hey, I want to have, you know, 30 people. Well, even if you
Right.
want to have 30 people, you could probably still reach that venue that you wanted with the high, guest count, like head count per person.
Absolutely. And I wish I knew that tip before going into it because that definitely will help you narrow down your venue as well. So
Mhm.
if you and your person sat down and you have figured out, like, okay, we have 200 must invite guests on our
Yeah.
list. Now you start looking at venues and their prices are saying 150, 200, two
Mhm.
fifty.
Mhm.
And if that's out of your budget for your 200 guests, then it's time to stop looking at that place and to explore other options.
Right? Like same thing, say, oh, we have 200 must. Then
Mhm.
maybe that destination wedding is not the way to go. Right? Because these must people that you need to be there that are part of your vision, they may not be able to have that extra cost of coming to a destination wedding.
That's true.
So you definitely, you would hate to have your heart set on like Bali only to only to figure out like, wow, most of the people I want to come, there's no way they can make it to this.
Yeah, yeah, unless you're gonna front the cost. If they have to be there, you gotta help them out.
Yeah, if they have to be there, you have to be willing to pay the cost to be the
Mhm.
boss.
Exactly. So now let's talk about what if you guys make your list. Let's say you just jot down everyone you wanted to invite. Your list
Mhm.
is just going crazy. How do you refine that? Because, everyone has a budget. There's some people who don't, and, bless you. Okay.
Yeah.
But there's some people who do have budgets, and you definitely would have to refine that list to stay within that budget.
Yeah. Or even if it's not just a budget, you got to think about your vibes.
Yeah, yeah. The type of mood you want to be in, the people
Yeah.
you want around you.
Yes.
That's a
So
fact. Yeah.
when
So
it got really, really tight for us, because we did
mhm,
still have to make those decisions a little bit. We definitely went up with the route of if the person that we want to invite have they met both of us. like
Yes.
me and a fiance. Like me and my
Mhm.
fiance were together for a really long time before we got married.
Mhm.
And if I haven't met you, or if he hasn't met you,
Yeah. It's not the place for the meet and greet. That's what I'm
no, not
saying.
for the first time ever. That
Mm.
doesn't really make sense.
No, 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 no. And another thing too, you have to see if this person you're inviting to your wedding,
Mm-hmm.
are they going to be in your life afterward? Are you going to hear from
Oh.
them? Are you and your spouse going to meet up with them and hang out after the wedding is done?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
That reminds me. I saw something a really long time ago, like a quote or something. It was like, you want to invite somebody to the wedding that you wouldn't mind spending $150 on them for dinner. Would you
Mm,
take this person out to $100 dinner? Would you pay for that for them?
that is a good rational question to ask in order to figure out who to invite, because that's literally what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're taking 100 plus people out to dinner
Yes. Yes. And
and you're covering the bill.
you're covering the bill. And
Mhm.
you're not spending $20 on them. They're taking them to a nice restaurant. You're spending at least $150 on them.
At least.
At least. So when you think about that, just take it out of the context of wedding. Just say, hey, if they had a birthday, or if I could take them to dinner and their dinner was this, is that something I would do?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Um,
definitely. Like all those things come into play. Like you don't have to invite the world to your wedding. It's
but
your special day.
it's this list. You want to refine it and make sure that it's all good vibes. It
Mhm.
really makes the day. Trust me.
Mhm.
And all right, I know this one might sound a little bit petty, but
Mm.
I think it's true. But if the person that you are thinking of, like if you need to like refine your guest list, if they were married, were you invited to their wedding?
Mhm. There are a lot of people who do think like that.
Yeah. Were
That is
you
true.
invited to attend?
Mhm. Or any special event. If maybe they're not married, like were you invited to any special milestones in their
I
life?
Well, I think mostly about wedding. I would just say, like, to compare apples to apples. Like, okay, they had their wedding. Was I invited? Not
Mm.
was I not invited because I didn't exist yet, like I wasn't born, or was I not invited because we didn't know each other, or did
Mhm.
we know each other, and I not invited to attend? And for me, if the answer is no, and I'm trying to like refine my guest list, I think
Mhm.
that would give me enough comfortability to be like, well, maybe I could take this person off.
Okay. All right. All right. So, and also, if you're thinking of like inviting your coworkers, you know,
Mm.
some people do, some people don't. But would you see you and your spouse seeing them after work? Let's say you hang out with them off the clock, or if you left the job entirely, is this
Mm.
someone you can consider a part of your life now? Are they a friend? Like,
Mhm.
where
Mhm.
is where's that relationship gonna lie afterward? And if not, maybe they shouldn't make the list. They could be on the B list, possibly.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's true.
Mhm.
Um, okay. Anything else I want to think of? Do you want to see them and talk to them at the wedding? Is this someone that you want to see on your wedding day?
Hmm. Oh, that's tough because being that, we've gone through it, there's a lot of people that I know I didn't get to speak to
Hmm.
at the wedding, but I don't know if I would uninvite them because of that.
Well, no, not if you didn't speak to them on the wedding day, but like,
Mm.
is there somebody who is like, oh, okay, speaking to this person is going to give me some sort of anxiety? Like, saying
Oh,
you
okay,
get,
okay, okay. Like there's
yeah.
something else to this
Right. So
person being
so
there.
like if you think about it like, oh man, it's my wedding day. You're like, all in your emotions. Do I really want to sit here and
This
talk
is a
to
trigger.
yeah, or is this someone that I would like, oh, I'm so happy to see them that they're here.
Mhm.
No, or this person that blabs on and on and on and on and on about nothing. It's like, oh, this person's gonna be there.
Like, oh, I want the blabber at my wedding.
Yeah,
Absolutely
oh
not.
gosh, she's gonna start talking about this. Do you want that type of energy on your day of? Does this person spark joy?
Right. Well, that's where the B list come into play, So what do you think? Should you have a B list checklist or a B list in general?
um, I don't think you should start with a B list because it makes things confusing.
Mhm.
But if you must, you have to be like strategic and organized about it. That's what I
Mhm.
think. Like if you must start with like, say you guys write out everything and you're like, whoa, we have 400 people, we have all these people, we really need only 100 or we only need 50. Let's make this B list. Then sure, but it gets a
Mhm.
little tricky because you have to be tactful if you're going to really like implement this B list and send out invitations at different times.
Mhm.
That's the reason why I don't want to do it, because if like the other people, they may find out and feel like a second thought.
I mean, yeah, that do run the risk of that. I'm pro B list. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm pro B list. So once you pick your venue, now I don't know if this is the same for destination that you can chime in,
Alrighty.
but for traditional local weddings at a venue, once you book, they ask you how many guests you're having. My tip that I've learned during my journey was never give them the exact guest count number.
Mm-hmm.
When you give them the exact guest count number and they write that number on the contract, you are binded to that number of guests.
Mm-hmm.
So if this is very early on, usually when you pick your venue, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now let's say you guys made your list first, went to look at venues, found the one you fell in love with, the price is right, and now they're like, how many guests you having? Your guest list at home might be 250 people. Now, are all 250 coming? Probably not. But if you tell them you have a guest list of 250 people and they put that on the contract, now your invitations, save the dates go out, and 100 people say they can't make it.
Mm-hmm.
That's when that B list come into play, because you're obligated to pay for 250 people once you sign the contract. You can't go back and change it.
But don't they give you like time?
Nope. Once you sign the contract for the number you give them, that's how many people you're binded to provide. So that's why I always say to give less, because you can always add. You can't take away.
That's true. I took Rima's advice and did that. Like I was like, okay, I know that I am inviting like over 100 people, but I'm gonna say that our wedding is gonna be like 630 or something, 50. I think we did 40 people. And there were two things that came up. Well, three things that I'm happy that I did that. Number one, my initial deposit was way lower because the amount of people that we are anticipating having is smaller. So that initial deposit was lower. And then we got like, you had to give your final guest count like a month before the actual event.
Right.
So, but even still, they had like parameters on like how many people you can decrease your guest count by. So yeah, there was no penalty if like, oh, we get to like 6 months out and I'm not having that like 50 people or whatever. Like that's fine. But I couldn't like say that there was only like I couldn't have less than like 10% or like 30%
Of the people you
of
said.
the people I said I was gonna have. Something like So read your contracts, make sure, but start off lowballing because people are gonna say, yeah in your face. And not gonna show up because things happen. And you don't want to be stuck with like having to pay for extra people that like ghost tables.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because there's people who will accept that RSVP happy-go-lucky in the beginning, and then once you give your final count, thinking that Mr. and Mrs. Happy-go-lucky is coming, all of a sudden God forbid a disaster happens,
Mm,
you still have to pay for that person. The venue is not going to hear, oh, okay, this person is sick with some terminal disease. They can't make it.
yeah, they're not
They're
gonna
going to
do
be
that.
sorry for you, but they still want their money. So
Yes. Oh, so I get it. I get
definitely
why you
start
want
low.
a plan B.
Mhm. Right. And they
So
might feel a way that they was possibly an afterthought, but I think at this point in the game, people should understand the cost of weddings
mm,
and how things play out. Like there's large families, there's people who may be considered first before extending it out to friends or coworkers and things like that. Because obviously that extends your list by X amount of number.
that is so true.
So
And
if
you
they're
can, mhm.
sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, if they're a real friend, if they're a real person who loves you guys and want to be there to support you, that wouldn't even be a factor.
Oh, that's true. I was about to
They're
say
gonna
that
come.
you can't like, and it's true, you can't control how other folks feel or react.
Right.
So you definitely, should have your bases covered. I still think the plan B list, like second round of invitations, are pretty shaky. And, you know, that's just where I stand.
Man, hey, stick to it, girl.
Stick to it.
But you know what? Let's talk about the people who we didn't intend to invite, but show up anyway. Let's talk about how to handle those guests who were not invited to the wedding.
Ooh, yeah, awkward.
So, there's some people who feel like they're invited and automatically they are afforded a +1. No, unless your invitation says you have a +1
Mhm.
or that little card that comes with the invitation for you to return, usually it'll mark down if you can add someone or if you cannot add someone. That's not up to you to just bring an extra person with you.
No.
Please
No
don't
matter
do
what
that.
you think. I mean, you could make like people make assumptions all the time. Like, yeah, I'm here, but maybe you're not. This person's definitely coming.
Yeah.
They wouldn't mind.
But
But
we do.
I
But we
mean,
do.
and also don't be afraid or like, scared when someone who is not invited it confronts you and asks. I know it's really, really like scary. Just number one, you don't owe them an explanation. You can just say, I'm sorry you're not invited. But if you want to give an explanation, just be honest and true and straightforward. You can say things that usually happen, which is, sorry, I didn't have the budget. Sorry, our venue can't accommodate. We're only inviting close family. I'm only inviting this. Just tell them what it is if they need to know. But it's okay. People understand that, not everybody gets invited to a wedding.
This is absolutely true. And there's other ways that they can view it if that's what they truly desire. But we all know everybody wants to come to the reception, to the
Mhm.
party, good music, eat good food,
To
hopefully
see everyone dress, see the bride's
see
dress.
everyone's outfits and the
Yeah.
open bar.
Yeah.
But if you want to truly see the union between these people that you love so much, there's other ways. There's Zoom.
Mhm.
After COVID, a lot of people started viewing their weddings on Zoom, or family who are overseas or in other states who couldn't travel to make it to your wedding.
Yes.
That's another way to view it.
That's true. You could make exceptions or alternatives for folks who, can't necessarily attend, but they are special to you. So there's other ways that you guys can attend. I do want to throw in a couple of what I want to say gems right here. If you are a destination wedding couple, right, you are going to get pressure to have an event at home locally for those who didn't make it. I would personally say don't do that. Because planning a wedding, especially a wedding in a destination, is no easy feat. And they're asking you to basically plan another wedding. What you can do is say, I would love that as long as you host it You do. You
The
do
plan.
it. You plan it. You do it. You pay for it. I will show up with bells and whistles. I'll even wear my wedding dress.
That's extra. I won't be wearing my wedding dress.
I'll pull up. I'll pull up. But that's one thing. All right. But if you do want to have something at home, by all means, for the folks who can't come, I saw somewhere a bride, a destination wedding bride. What she did was she like waited till she got her wedding video, her pictures back, and she kind of like set up her living room where she had like her wedding gown there on a mannequin with her the groom wore. They
Mhm.
bought little treats from like the event, and then they had the folks who couldn't come like
Oh,
come
that's really
in,
sweet.
yeah, and like see what the dress was, watch the
Mhm.
video, look at the pictures, talk to folks who've been there, and they like talk about the time, and something
Nice.
small like that is really sweet.
Like a world premiere.
Yeah, world premiere, but something cute like that.
That is really cute.
So yeah, there's definitely ways to not invite a guest who can't attend. There's alternatives
Mhm.
to that that are
Mhm.
really cute.
Yeah. So they might be salty that they weren't there, but like I said, if they're down for you and they want to see the ceremony, they want to see what happened at the reception, there's options. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, setting up a webcam though, a Zoom option.
Yeah. And then, you can speak to your videographer. There's live streaming now. Maybe that could be
Oh,
a thing. So it could be like they're there, but not there.
yeah, that's nice, right? A little
Mhm.
chat.
Mhm.
You could also give like a framed photo of you guys in
Mhm.
your wedding attire to extra special guests.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, and
mhm.
another thing. Well, I just thought of this. I don't know if this is something
All
that is
right, let's hear it.
available, but you can also, if for guests who you want to come but can't make it, let's say for
Hmm.
that, not just uninvited guests who just decided to pop up on their own, but
That is terrible. Get a bouncer.
that is terrible. But for guests that you really want to be there but they couldn't make it, what if like you sent them a little package of like maybe a little nip, wish you were here, maybe if
Mm,
you gave a favor at the wedding and you had it already, you can put that in the box and give them the link of how they can view the wedding.
oh,
And then
that's so cute.
isn't that cute? And then they can sit there with their little drink and, probably dance to the
Yes.
music.
Yeah. My boss actually attended a wedding like that during COVID. They
Mhm.
they had gotten married, like they did a destination wedding, and they had people like they live streamed it, and she got all dressed up in her gown and stuff in her house, and everybody had a
Mhm.
little champagne and stuff and was like
Nice.
live streaming. It was really cute.
That's cute ideas all
Yeah.
around.
Yes. It's well, speaking of the uninvited, here's
Mhm.
another rule that we need to tell you guys.
Okay.
It's an all or nothing game when it comes to refining that list and not uninviting folks. So if there is a group of folks, I don't know, a friend group, what's a good group?
Like a sorority or fraternity, let's say that.
So, like, say you got all your sorority and fraternity, you guys all chilling, but
Mhm.
you only want to invite one person or two people. You can't do that. You have to invite the whole group. So it's either everybody or nobody.
Right? Imagine you're on a line, you just want to invite the tail of the line and forget everybody else. It's kind of shady.
I mean, the budget says what the budget says, right? But I mean, that means nobody can come. I'm sorry, they can't come.
Oh,
So,
one for
you,
all for
oh, for
one.
what?
You can't come, nobody can come.
That's it. It will keep things. Trust me, it will help you. It'll make a lot more sense. Like you don't want to invite. Oh, let me invite the Legerms, and I'm only going to invite Logan Legerm.
Yeah, let me just invite the son and not the parent. Yeah, you can cause some turmoil in that relationship after the wedding.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad all around. You're about to lose a whole bunch of friends for what? Couple
Yeah, so
dollars. It's be
mhm.
awkward.
Do this tactfully and you can save relationships because there's a lot of people who fall out of friendships with people from not being invited to a wedding.
Yeah. This is not like the bridal party or anything like that where it's like, okay, yeah, we're close, but we can't be this. No,
Mhm.
this is the whole shit, the whole enchilada,
Whole shebang.
the whole shebang. Like you can't just say, yeah, half and not. So
That's right.
all or
Yeah.
nothing.
And another thing too, what I learned during the planning and
Mhm.
la 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 of my wedding time was the women that you invite to your bridal shower have to be invited to the wedding.
Whoa, I didn't have a bridal shower.
Oh, good. Well, apparently, whoever you invited to the bridal shower are guests of your wedding.
What a sneaky way to add people into the wedding is.
It's like if they're gonna come to your bridal shower and not invited to the wedding, they do not come to the bridal shower.
Oh, good to know. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense, but usually the bridal shower is like mostly like the in-laws friends, right?
Yeah,
Isn't it
I
like
think
your mother's friends or like
it's
your
the gist of like your close female friends
uh-huh.
and family, I believe. And of course your
Okay.
bridesmaids, close family
Mm-hmm.
and female friends, I think.
Oh, I thought it originated like as something that like the mother throws.
Right. Like there's other traditions too, like the mother of the bride and the maid of honor or the bridesmaids to the bridal shower. The in some traditions there's a bridal brunch after the
Mm-hmm.
wedding
Mm-hmm.
that I think one of the parents cover. Like there's a whole list of traditional covered fees that the parents take over.
Yeah, we should probably do like a episode like about all the different types of
Traditions.
wedding traditions and extra events outside of the wedding.
Because there's a lot of them that people probably don't take heed to.
Yeah, there's just a lot. It's a lot going on. But even still, there's always a guest list for every last one of them.
Absolutely. And you know what? One thing that is like pulling teeth to do, and I know it drives me nuts, and it probably drive a lot of other people nuts, is getting people to RSVP. You would think that you invited them to your wedding and they're going to let you know, like, yeah, I'm going to be there. No, they're going to read your website or read the invitation, not respond, and then still show up the day of.
Bold of you to say read, that they would read them.
I would like to think they read it,
Yeah,
They're not cheap. Those wedding invitations, I don't know why they're extra money when it's just a regular invitation like everything else. But you can at least read it, admire it, maybe take a picture of it. But
That's true.
RSVP people.
RSVP and decide if after you got your guest list, decide how you guys are sending this out. Are you guys doing snail mail? Are you guys doing digital only?
Absolutely.
Are you guys doing a mix of both? And we're going to tell you how to maximize on getting these RSVPs. So
Absolutely.
if you do the snail mail, either way, just make sure that you stay organized in these RSVPs.
Absolutely. And just for those who probably don't know the importance of an RSVP.
Oh, yes.
We have you on the list as a guest to come. We hope you come. And the reason why we need this count to come back to us is because we need to let our venue know a final count of how many people we're expecting. So that way you have a seat,
and some food
at the wedding. You can't just assume, okay, they sent me the invitation. They must know I'm coming. I don't know what's going on in your life. Let me know if you're coming. So we need to know that. And on top of that, for couples who want favors for their guests.
Oh, yeah.
That's another thing they need to count for. So
it's for everything. It's everything.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's the number one driver for how your wedding is going to be is your guests.
Yes. So we need the numbers.
We need those numbers. All right. So you want to make sure that in order to get these RSVPs, that you nudge folks and don't wait until like the day before
No,
your final guest count is due.
no.
A good rule of thumb is to give yourself like a 2 month buffer.
And that's kind of close.
And that's
2 months?
cutting it close. But what I'm saying is like, I told people 2 or 3 months, I think more than that, before my final guest count was done. Do you think people adhere to that deadline?
No. Why would they? No.
And luckily, I had that buffer. We had
Mhm.
people responding a month and a half after the deadline that I gave.
I feel like no one respect deadlines for some odd reason. Like it's a deadline for a reason. Like I need to know this by this time, but
And,
nobody respects it.
I think they're trying to call out bluff. They're like, okay, yeah, sure. You want to take my yes or
This
no.
is a fake date.
Yep.
Right. Well, definitely when you go and send your RSVPs out, you want to be specific to that point. Like,
Mhm.
I need this back by this date, no later than that date,
Mhm.
and put down the information that you need. If you're allowing them a +1, are you
Mhm.
bringing them?
Mhm.
What is their name?
Mhm.
Be detailed and put the options on there for your guests to give you all the information you would need.
You can also leverage like your social media and things like that. So you can make like on Instagram, there's like close friends. You can make like a little close
Mhm.
friends for the folks that are invited and put a post up. It's like, hey guys, time to RSVP with a link to
Mhm.
RSVP or to your website. If you go the digital route, or maybe it doesn't have to have anything else other than that. Like you could just say, make sure you send this back if you send out only paper mail. So,
Mhm.
but this is a good way to keep people engaged and just remind them
That is a good one.
without having to just like write them specifically.
Like a weekly blast. Like, hey, don't forget to send back your RSVPs.
Yeah.
People love looking at Instagram stories.
I know they're gonna be over it. Like, dang, okay, let me just click it.
Like, oh,
Fine.
she's at it again.
Add it again. But it's really worth it. Like you don't want to overdo it, but you definitely don't want to underdo it because
Mhm.
it's your day. It's
Yeah.
not their day.
Absolutely.
So
And you need the information by a certain time. You need it.
exactly. You really need it, or else you're gonna be really salty.
And another thing that some people may or may not know, if
Mhm.
you decide to do traditional RSVPs, I want to say it's courteous and
Mhm.
it's best etiquette to send a pre-stamped envelope with those cards
Mhm.
because 9 times out of 10, they're not going to buy the stamp to put it on there to send it back to you.
That's a good point.
So if it's already pre-stamped, they literally just have to write the information, put it in the card, drop it in the mail.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. And I think a lot of like these websites where you go to make your physical invitation, they do have options where it's already made with like the
Mhm.
pre-stamped to come with you, right?
Yes.
So they make it
Mint.com
easy.
is really good with that.
They make it very easy for you. So that's a good, so, it's not complicated for you to get done, and
Yeah.
it is a great idea.
Right. I know for ours, we did both because
Mhm.
obviously we're inviting people from our generation, our
Mhm.
friends, the older generation, our family, and, the parents, they're extra people. And there's some older people who are just not trying to get with the times. They don't want to deal with nothing with technology. So we did both because we knew people from our generation were not sending that card back. And the older generation was not going onto the knot to do the electronic RSVP.
That's valid. That's valid. But you could save money because like what we did, we only sent the physical cards to like the folks that we knew were not going to be with electronics. And then everybody else was fine with a not physical version.
Right.
So that saved us hundreds of dollars.
So definitely keep that in mind if you want those RSVPs back.
Also, with the digital, there are like my wedding website had a way that you can send out email blasts of your RSVPs. Like you could just kind of automatically set it to go out and send out text messages and stuff like that with the RSVP link. So you could take advantage of those things as well.
Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
So if that's how you want to get your guests to respond, there go some tips. If you know any other tips that we didn't put out here, feel
Mhm.
free to let us know. Shoot us a DM or leave something down here in the comments.
Yes, exactly. So with that, I think it's time for us to do my favorite part, the Reddit on Reddit.
Reddit on Reddit time.
Because as you know, additionally to the budget, I also like to be on Reddit.
Reddit has the T.
It does have the T. So this week's Reddit, this person would like to know if they are the blank hole for asking my guests to pay $10 to come to my wedding.
Ooh.
I don't know. Seeing with that question, it seems like a lot is happening. So,
all right, let's get into it.
Here we go. My fiance, 23 male, and I, 23 female, are getting married in less than a month. We are doing a small wedding and only inviting 20 guests. We decided we want to have our wedding up in a canyon, but to access this canyon, it costs $10. So we're having our guests pay the $10 to enter the canyon. We put this canyon fee on our invitations. Well, invitation is specific.
Okay.
My sister called me today as she just received her invite in the mail and was mad about having to pay to attend a wedding. She called me a bleep hole because I was being a cheapskate, and there are thousands of canyons that don't have a fee. But me and my fiance already have our hearts set on this specific canyon in view. As the argument went on, she shared to nitpick our whole wedding plan. Having guests bring their own camping chairs, not having a real reception, just a small dinner for those who attended, and posting our registry all over social media, but only having 20 people actually be invited.
Okay.
We don't want to spend money. We don't want to spend a lot of money, so we're doing it outdoors, and that's one way of doing that. We also want our close, intimate friends and family to be there, so I don't know what's wrong with keeping it small. And to those who will ask, is the canyon fee you have to pay at the base, so it's not like we can just pay the park rangers in advance and just say this should cover it. It's open to the public, so she wants to know, is she the bleep hole?
Absolutely. And yeah, tackety tack. Don't come back. Like, wait, okay. So I have to pay to come to your wedding. I have to bring my own seat.
Yeah.
To your wedding. This might as well have been a picnic or a barbecue.
Oh, yeah. And then you're blasting your registry. This person, she has more information. She has some updates.
Okay. What is
Number one, no, it is not a national park. It's just a canyon near our hometowns. We talked to the rangers, the Forest State Park. I don't know what you call them. They said it was fine as long as we didn't go over 100 people. 2, I didn't realize that posting your registry to social media was such a faux pas. Everybody posts everything nowadays online, and many people who already knew they weren't invited had asked me about the registry, so I posted it.
Oh, God. Oh, okay.
3, we talked to the rangers. We asked them if they could buy passes or slips to give them like a list of names ahead of time in order to pay for our guests, but none of those solutions worked. We decided informing our guests that there would be a $10 fee as a heads up would be the best way to go. I guess we should have been more creative, but we really already sent out the invite. So there goes half of the suggestions. We're taking some of the other ones.
Okay.
We're taking some of the other ones under advisement. Probably like going with an usher or a bus at the gate was a good idea. You could have said that. You could have thought of that before.
Yeah.
And when we said small dinner, we were referring to the size of the party or lack thereof, meaning no reception. not the amount or quality of food, but thanks again for your judgment. Okay.
Hmm. Oh, okay.
So, and she said she accepts that she is the bleep hole, but 23 is not that young to be getting married. I wasn't about the money. Well, you said it was. It was about the logistics, and none of this has any bearing on if my marriage will succeed or fail.
They must have read her to filth.
Yeah, they must have shredded her in the comments. Okay. And all our guests, other than our parents and my sister and my fiance's three sisters, are outdoors types and college friends in the area. So it's not a big deal. Whatever.
I mean, okay. All right. Where should we begin? All right, girly. Let's talk about this registry blast.
Yeah.
You only wanted to invite 20 people. Why did you need to blast your registry on Instagram?
Let me take this as a time as well. Guys, this is not a cute thing to do. Okay. When you get married or you're engaged, please don't write on your car, your Cash App, saying, buy me a coffee, I'm engaged. Cash App, Venmo. Don't do that. People do that all the time.
Yeah, no, there's no need for it. One,
it's a money grab.
It's definitely a money grab. It's like if the person intends to gift you money, they will give it to you in a card. They might even ask you, what is your Cash App handle? Or they might use their common sense and use your telephone number or email and send it through Zelle. There's no need to ask for it. It just makes you look horrible.
And why'd you have to blast it on social media? The few people who asked you for the registry, send them the registry.
No need. Like, especially when you're charging people to enter the park to sit at the dinner because there's no reception.
There's no dinner.
So you know what that tells me? There's no DJ, there's no drinks. There is just me paying to see you guys get married and eating a lunch. And I see that she did not include what this food was.
No, she did not. She
think
said no reception, just food. You know, she's lying. Like, all right, whatever. Yeah. She got read to filth. And as you can see,
I'm sure she did.
Someone said in the comments, they said, I'd rather go to a wedding in McDonald's.
Stop. Oh boy. All right. I don't want to be a Judge Judy, but anywhere but this. Like, and then granted, the sister came on a bit strong. I don't think she should have like criticized your entire wedding plan, but she had some valid points. But the chairs, you couldn't get chairs for the 20 people you were going to invite. Come on. I think people take this a little too crazy when it's like, it's about me, my day. You have to kind of be courteous to the people you're inviting too.
I can't believe that they just didn't think it through. Like, if it really was not about the money, right? Then you would have been like, okay, well, I don't want my guests to have to pay to come. But you don't care about that.
All right. Yeah,
and you didn't want to shell out $200.
That too. That's what I was going to say. Like, I understand that they're young and they probably didn't think of an alternative to asking the guests to pay $10 on the invitation. They could have had someone at the gate with the $200 to pay as the cars came in. It was only 20 of them.
Someone else said, honestly, this whole thing is giving broke.
No, she said money wasn't an issue. It was quality. The quality was good. Money wasn't an issue. They wanted something intimate and small. Like, maybe she should have put that in the favor. Like, here's your $10 back.
Yeah, that would have been cute. Actually, someone else just said that. Someone just said, they said, I got married at a park that had an entrance fee. We included a card with an invitation that our guests could present at the park to be allowed in. We put a deposit at the gate to cover their parking charges, and they calculated the actual amount due based on the cards they collected. It's really not that difficult.
Right. And then nowadays, mostly everyone are taking credit cards. You could have gave out a gift card with the invitation. Being that they couldn't take the payment ahead of time. Here you go. Use this to enter the park.
I mean, but they bring in their own chairs.
Walkie-talkie. I can't. Like,
It's
at
just a
least
lot.
you could have had the chair. There's 20 people.
It's 20. That's the thing. It's 20
people.
people and you're dragging it. Like you could not come up with what? $300? Like
You
let's
could have
say if
rented
you
them.
yeah, like say the cost of the chairs was like 100, which it probably wouldn't even have been 100, but maybe like $100 for their chairs and then $200 to have the guests come.
Right. And they weren't regular chairs. She asked them to bring lawn chairs. So
Yeah, because they're out in the wilderness.
I guess. All right. Well, this was her vision. And unfortunately, the world is reading her to filth.
Oh man.
They do.
If you are listening to the Sugar and Spouse podcast right now, please do not do this for your wedding. Okay? We can help you. Like DM us if you want to have an outdoor wedding and it's in a canyon and you know whatever, and you don't have that big of a budget. We have tips we can help you. There's so many things that she could have done, but she was not considering her guests at all. And it seemed like she wanted to just get a payday.
Treat us like Help Me Howie or however that was named on the news channel.
Yes.
Assistance. We're here to help.
Yes.
Email us, leave us a comment. We'll get back to you.
We'll get back to you. We'll help you figure it out. If you are questions, and you won't get read to Phil if you are like this girl, we will help you. No. We would DM you very, privately and say, no, ma'am, please. I don't know. You're 23 years old. I think you can come up with $200. Figure it out.
Yes. And if you can't, because everybody's pockets are different, we would help you with alternative ideas that will suit your budget to help you out.
And your vision.
We're here to help.
That's what we want to do. But yeah, that girl, poor thing. It's another day.
It's all right.
Another Reddit.
That's it. That was a good one. I enjoyed that one. That was funny. Well, just like you like Reddits, you know what I love.
Okay.
Yeah, I love a little game. Yes. So we're going to bring it back and play our tried and true. Would you rather?
Yes.
So I'm going to start it off. Are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. Would you rather 50 guests RSVP and do not come to the wedding, or 20 extra people come who did not RSVP?
Wait, didn't RSVP?
Nope, they're just 20 uninvited guests. You did not know they were coming until at the reception, they're letting you know we have to put out 20 extra chairs because we didn't know they were coming.
I would go. Oh, okay. Now I'm really thinking about it. At first, I said the 20. I was thinking of 20 because it might be less. But if 50, you said they RSVP but don't show.
They RSVP'd and don't show.
So no, the 20 people. I'd rather them just show up. As stressful as that is, we could accommodate it. And it's actually less money in the end. Cause I ended up paying for 50 people who didn't show as opposed to 20 people who would have shown.
Well, no, this is either or. Either you already gave your final guest count and the 50 people in that final guest count didn't show up.
No, it's either or. But I'm saying in the first scenario, I end up paying more because I paid for 50 people that didn't come.
Right.
In the second scenario, I'm paying for 20 extra people as opposed to...
That's additional. Absolutely.
50. Or maybe my math is not my strong suit.
No, your math is mathing. It's 70 people now because it's the 50 that you paid for.
Yeah.
On top of the extra 20.
Right.
I'm with you, girl. I'm down with the extra 22.
Yeah, the extra 20, because the 50 people, you pay for them.
Yeah.
That's 50. That's like paying for 50 people to just
Okay.
show up.
50 empty seats because
50 empty
you still have to pay
seats.
for them.
Oh my gosh, that hurts.
Doesn't it?
Oh, that hurts. I've heard some stories,
girl,
where people have been through that.
Yes.
Where like a lot of people will say, yeah, I'm gonna be there. RSVP, yes. Ghost.
Mm-hmm.
That's the rudest
Mm-hmm.
thing you can do. At least you could do is tell somebody, I can't go.
Okay. That's the least you can do. Preferably before I give this final guest count. Or I just say I'm a maybe. And then I can let you know, okay, I need to really know if you're coming before this day.
And don't be afraid to put your foot down and be like, you didn't tell me that you weren't coming in time. I don't have space anymore.
Mhm.
You uninvited yourself.
I'm sorry. It is what it is.
It is what it is. Okay, I have another question for you.
All right. Go ahead.
Would you rather,
Mhm.
if you're a guest at a wedding, would you rather have like good food or good music as a guest? Which one do you like better?
That is actually pretty tough. Ooh. I would say good music.
Hmm.
I would say good music because the music set the vibe. Like it sets the whole vibe of the wedding, and you want to go there and celebrate the people you came out there to celebrate and have fun.
Mhm.
The
Yeah, that's
food
true.
after the reception is over and I had a nice drink and I had a good dance on the floor or whatever, I can go
Mhm.
somewhere else and get something to eat if the food is
Mhm.
bad.
Oh, that's so nice.
Right? Like I
I
can't go
mean,
somewhere and replay the music.
that's a good point. I mean, that's true. Wow, I like that.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, so definitely food over. I'm sorry, no, definitely music over the food. All right. Would you rather kids or no kids at the wedding?
I had kids at my wedding,
Mhm.
and it wasn't that bad. But yeah, because I would want the kids to be in the wedding. I'd rather have the kids. They're fine.
No,
You
these are
just have,
extra kids, not just the ones in the wedding.
oh yeah, kids. I'm
Mhm.
fine with kids as long as like it depends on the adults. So if
Mhm.
I know that, I know this is too much information for a would you rather, but I don't care.
Give us a tea. Tell us.
Yeah, but like if I know that one of my friends or the person is like gentle parenting to the point where it's like no consequences, their kid is going to be in the middle of the aisle. They're not going to step away if their kid is throwing a temper tantrum. They're going to take it as a free night because
Mhm. There's so
there's
many
other
adults
adults around. Then I'm going to be like, no.
Mhm. Yep. On that tip alone is why I'm no kids. Because it's like I don't need to have my first dance and have your kids dancing with me on the dance floor. It's just like it's a moment that you can't get again. You do not replay this time. And it's like I'd rather be on the side of caution and just say no kids than to allow kids and then have that go on and be
Yeah, that's a
pissed.
good point.
You know?
Because kids are wild.
Wild cards. You don't know what they're
What
gonna
do. You don't know what they're gonna do. Or
No.
how they're gonna feel like that day. That's it. So
Yep.
especially they up past their bedtime, they
Whoosh.
high on sugar.
Oh yeah, they're acting wild and crazy. Yeah. And then I say this probably every other episode, but my husband's a videographer, and the stories he comes back to tell me, oh no, I would have gone nuts if that child did that at my wedding. So I'd rather keep the friendships alive and say no kids. All right. So
All
let's
right.
see. What's
Would
next?
you rather gifts or money? Like, gifts or money gift or money? Yeah.
I don't want to sound like this, but I'd rather monetary gifts because for several reasons. But let me get into it.
Let's get into it.
One, in my case, I had a bridal shower and I learned that once you do the registry for your bridal shower, it doesn't really change from the items you will put for a wedding registry.
Oh, wow.
Why would I put it again? So I would rather just put that for my bridal shower and not have to lug home a bunch of gifts the night of my wedding.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Again, can't you? Oh, that's right, because people bring them.
They bring them to the wedding.
Girl, I'm so quick to just send some money. I think
Mhm.
I like monetary gifts, and there's like different ways to do it where it's tasteful, where it's like, oh, we have a fund for a house, or we have a fund for a honeymoon, or this, like,
Mhm.
so people know where their money is going towards.
Right,
Um, Even though it's kind of like self-explanatory, like hello to us, but
right.
that's actually nice as well. So
Yeah, and there's a lot of little websites out here that are specific to that purpose.
so yeah, but can't go wrong with a good old Cash App.
Mm-mm. Well, traditional cash on a
Mhm,
card.
mhm.
We love
Those
it
are
all.
lovely. The cars are more beautiful with that green.
All right, girly. All right, so okay, here's another one.
Okay.
Would you rather your guests bail on coming to the reception or bail on coming to the ceremony?
Whoa.
Mm,
Wow.
we're getting
What a
deep.
terrible guess.
Mhm. Hmm, hmm, hmm.
Dang, I'm thinking about either one of them is making me upset.
Right?
So
Isn't it sis? Imagine.
I'm like, what? Okay, how dare you not come to the ceremony and show up to the reception like,
Ready to party, right?
hey, free open bar.
Where the wings? Give me
With
the
a
food.
way, with a drinks, party time. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
Okay, but okay, then how about they just don't come to the reception and then now I have their plate that I didn't pay for?
Hmm.
I'd rather them I'd rather them bail on the ceremony
Mhm.
because I probably won't notice that they weren't at the ceremony. I
Ooh,
couldn't tell you who was where walking down that aisle.
that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Um
I feel like us as the bride won't. I know with speaking with my husband, that's
mhm.
all he spoke about when because they're up there first.
Oh, that's right.
So he's like, yeah, I saw who was sitting in their seats. I saw who was talking to the other person on the other side of the room. I saw who was sneaking in mid ceremony.
Whoop.
So it's like the groom or the partner up there, they see it all.
Wow. Okay, yeah, the person waiting at the aisle, right? At the
Mhm.
bottom.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's why I picked the ceremony because it's like,
Mhm.
I really wouldn't know.
Yeah. I would assume that for you because you're queen budget. You're like, let me not lose out on this money. You know, come
Why are they making me sound like Mr. Krabs?
not Mr. Crab.
I was
Oh
really coming
man.
from an emotional space at that time. I was thinking about, okay, what would I actually notice?
I
Like,
mean, yeah, I get
I'm in
it.
the ceremony. I wouldn't notice. I don't know who was sitting in the ceremony. I'm just assuming he was in the ceremony. He was in the reception.
That is a good point. No, your point is valid. That is a really good point.
But
Definitely
also, the cost difference is not bad. Yeah,
valid. Mhm.
it does play a part in it.
Mhm. Mhm. Because after the wedding, when you start to replay the night, and it's like, hey, did you see Sasha at the wedding? Like, no, I didn't see her. Didn't she say she was coming with 3 other people?
Oh my goodness.
Sasha and her 3 friends is not there. So, yes, I agree with you. Definitely bail on the ceremony. Please come to the reception if you said you was gonna come.
But please don't bring extra people.
No, no, no.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
All right. I think we're gonna go for the last one right now.
Alright, here we go.
All right. Would you rather a wedding website RSVP or a snail mail in the mail card RSVP? Physical.
I rather the wedding website.
Yes.
Send
For
it
the environment.
Yeah, I'd rather the bulk of emails versus all of those damn cards because, like I said, I did both.
Oh
So
wow.
to have a collection of cards, it's like, all right, now what do I do with this? Throw them in the garbage. It's like it's such a waste. So
What do
doing it
you
online, it was so much easier. I was able to take that information, put it in a spreadsheet, so that way I had everything together versus the slow cards coming in day after. So definitely website me with the RSVP.
Not to mention, it's good for the environment.
That too. Yes.
And also, like, what are you gonna do with them? You're gonna sit them and then plug them into your wedding website.
Right. You're not gonna frame them. You're not gonna keep them afterward. Such a waste. But you get the information. I guess that's what's key.
And I guess it is exciting to get mail.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh no. The solicitors around here make sure my mailbox is full. I'd rather you not. I'm over it. Over
Yeah.
it.
I'm like, how am I getting physical spam? This is sick.
Absolutely. I get other people's mail. Like just today, I was like, wait, this is the lady across the hall. Why do we have this? So yeah. Electronic me, please.
Yeah, I'm here
Online
for it.
everything. Yeah. Well,
Well,
that was fun.
that was really fun. I learned a lot.
Right? You
I
know,
thought
I think
about Mhm.
one of these we should put on Instagram. Hopefully we get some responses back, because I
Oh,
would love
yeah.
to know what the crowd, the world and the communities
Mhm.
want to say about the guests bailing on the ceremony or the reception.
Yeah. Woo.
That's a tough one.
That is a tough one. I'm just thinking all about it like, wow, you scrubby, good for nothing.
Because you could take
Listen.
it so many ways. It's like, oh, you didn't care to see me get married, but you wanted to make sure you was here for this open bar.
Uh-huh.
Or you came to the wedding and had me pay for you to sit at the reception and you didn't even stay.
I mean, not unless they got sick. That's the only way.
Yeah. Well,
If
yeah,
you got sick, or maybe you're
obviously.
too sick and you missed the first part and you
Right.
made it. I don't know.
It can
Okay.
go either way.
It could go
Anyway,
anyway. Yeah, that's a hot topic right there.
super hot topic.
Well,
Mhm.
it is time for the sweet tunes.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, this is the part of the show where we pick 2 songs to add to your wedding playlist.
Yes. And so before we get started, Rima, would you like to give a little disclaimer about your sweet tune pick from
Okay.
last week?
So, last week I had a moment. Okay? So, the song that I originally wanted to give last week completely escaped my mind, and I ended up giving a song that I already gave. But I'm gonna just let you guys know the song that I planned to give last week. So that way you can add it to your playlist along with the 2 that we plan to give you guys today. So
Mhm.
last week it was supposed to be Stacey Barth, Extraordinary Love. And that is a great song to add for a wedding video. If you want to do it for your highlight, coming down the
Yes.
aisle, it's very, very romantic. Check it
Yeah.
out.
That is great. And it's already added to our Sweet Tunes playlist on
Mhm.
YouTube, which you guys can totally check out.
Check it out.
So, Marie, you want to give your
Oh, my song this week?
song for this week?
This week's song?
Yeah.
Okay, so this week I chose Adele, The One and Only.
Yes. Can't
I
go
feel like
wrong
the
with that.
title in the song itself, it definitely gives off the love and the vibes of, your one and only.
Mhm.
So definitely go check it out and listen to it. What did you pick this week, Nettie?
Mine is I Can't Stop Loving You by Kim.
Mm,
Think
that
about
was
us.
good.
Such a good song. Check it out on the playlist as we said, and that's that. So
Yeah, take it, leave it. Hopefully it helps you out in your wedding journey and picking the songs because you have to pick a lot of them.
hmm And so
We
it is
made it.
time. We made it to the end.
Yes, it's time for
Have
the
we
sugar
come
and the
the
spouse.
end of the road?
Boom, boom.
It's the sugar, the spouse.
Okay, remake. Okay.
It's the wrap up now.
Oh, like that.
Bars. Okay.
All right, Nettie, you want to give today's sugar?
Yes, and you guys can tell from my song, but this part is always where we just highlight the most important things that you could kind of take away. And so the sugar piece is the piece that is practical, I would say.
It's the tips of the show.
So the tips, I would say the main takeaway is to make sure that you like establish a budget and establish your guidelines before starting your guest list. This way, everything else will go so much smoother. So make sure that you get together with your spouse and or sorry, your fiance, and you guys say, okay, how many people is coming to this wedding? Where are we gonna have this wedding?
hmm
How many people can your parents invite? How many people can my parents invite? And
Iron out those details.
iron out those details, yes.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, Ray,
And
spouse?
today's spouse, I would just piggyback off of that. You definitely want to be a united front. You guys want to set your guidelines and stick to them. Don't allow anyone to kind of peek in or try to wedge their way into changing your mind. Once you guys set your decision on whatever it's going to be for that guest list,
Mm-hmm.
stick to it. And once you make your guest list, maybe think of possible wedding activities for that weekend or leading up to the wedding. There's
Mm.
people who do a brunch after the wedding for their guests. There's
Mm-hmm.
people who give favors at the wedding as a
Mm-hmm.
thank you to their guests.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you guys can get together and plan that out as a united front.
Nice. And that's it for today.
Yes, yes. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode.
Yes, and as always, you know what to do. Like us on Instagram, like us on YouTube, follow, subscribe, and listen to us on podcasts. You know which
Mhm,
ones?
mhm,
Apple Podcasts, Spotify,
Google.
Google,
Mhm,
anywhere that you can get podcasts. Check us out
mhm,
so you can listen to us on your way to work, while you're working
mhm.
out,
At the gym, yeah.
at the gym, anywhere. And,
Yeah,
don't forget all of those are at Sugar and Spouse.
absolutely. And let us know what you think. Leave us a comment, leave us a review.
Mhm.
If you want to hear something from us or something we haven't discussed so far, let us know. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes.
All right. So until next time,
Bye.
bye.